Assassin's Creed is finally back to its roots. Ubisoft has made some massive changes to Assassin's Creed Valhalla with the latest update which just came out a couple hours ago, which completely changes the RPG style, the combat system that we have seen in Assassin's Creed Origins, which then continued in Odyssey, and now it's also present in Valhalla, which Ubisoft has now made some massive changes with the latest update, which they have now released a brand new difficulty mode, which pretty much just alters the entire game. It basically converts the RPG styled game into more like an old school Assassin's Creed games where they have not completely removed the damage sponge enemies, whereas previously you have to just keep hitting the same target multiple times and then you have these different numbers popping up, the damage numbers and stuff like that, which is very much like an RPG game. But then now we have a brand new combat difficulty mode which is called as the Sage Story mode. Now there are two different types of difficulty modes that Ubisoft has added in, one being the combat difficulty and then there's also another one for stealth difficulty, and both of them have now been introduced with the new Sage mode, which basically just changes the entire way of how combat system works and also how the stealth system works in this game. Now the first important change that you guys need to take a look at is that Ubisoft has now completely removed the damage sponge enemies, whereas you don't really have to use the RPG style, the smash the button kind of a combat system anymore. This is pretty much going to be one hit, and headshot damages are pretty much going to kill the enemies no matter how high level they are. And stuff like these have now been completely changed, and Ubisoft is finally listening to the community that people really are upset about having some of these huge RPG mechanics that is being implemented in the latest Assassin's Creed games. And I think Ubisoft is now giving multiple choices for those players who actually prefer RPG style. They can indeed play on different difficulty levels, and then those who basically prefer the old school. And for most of the guys, some of the old school Assassin's Creed fans, they don't really enjoy the RPG systems anymore, and that is one of the biggest reasons as to why they've completely stopped playing Assassin's Creed games that have been released after Origins, Odyssey, and now Valhalla. Now, apart from the combat difficulty, we now also have a stealth difficulty, which basically makes a war much more rewarding in order to be a stealthy player, because now with the Sage difficulty mode, it basically turns on the guaranteed assassination, and then you have avoid detection for 6 seconds, which is pretty much like the old school Assassin's Creed games, and then you also have avoid detection while aiming at the enemy for 6 seconds as well, which is a huge buff in order to play some of the stealth actions here. And then you also have a reduced timer for search duration, which is 30 seconds, and you also have alert enemies, which is now being set to standard, which basically means that the NPCs or the enemies are not going to be super dumb. At the same time, they're not going to be any RPG style difficult as well. So now with the Sage difficulty mode, Assassin's Creed game is finally going to feel like an actual Assassin's Creed game rather than an open world RPG style mode. Now, of course, I've seen a lot of other YouTubers basically saying that nobody asked for a new difficulty mode, and I think they're completely wrong, because a lot of players, they are really hoping for Assassin's Creed games to go back to some of those old school styles, because not everyone is now currently enjoying the RPG fantasy, and giving this option, I think Ubisoft has done a very good job by bringing out this brand new Sage difficulty mode, of course. Now, moving away from that, lads, Ubisoft has also made changes with the graphic improvements for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where they have now improved the textures, animation, as well as lighting issues that was previously present in the game. Now, I myself jumped into the game and tested out the new graphic textures upgrade that they've done with the game. And for those of you guys who play the game on the next-gen consoles and on the PC version, and I mean the high-end PC versions, and if you guys are playing on the 4K resolution with not the performance mode, whereas the resolution mode, which basically plays at 30 frames per second with a really high graphics and stuff like that, then you guys are going to see a massive difference in terms of graphical texture upgrades that Ubisoft has now put in with the latest patch update. Now, this new patch also has a bunch of other stuff which is also related to Dawn of Ragnarok, which is the upcoming DLC expansion, which is said to be one of the biggest expansions that we have ever seen in the history of Assassin's Creed games so far. And I get it, Ubisoft has finally decided that we should most likely just go ahead and release the new Sage difficulty mode, so that for people who want to enjoy the upcoming expansion as an actual Assassin's Creed game, then now you have this option to go ahead and do it without having to experience RPG style, the damage sponge enemy system and stuff like that. So that's not going to be present in the game anymore, but that's a good thing, of course, for players who prefer old school styles. Now, the update is currently live on all the platforms: Xbox Series X or S, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, as well as on the PC version. It seems like the PC version's download size is pretty hefty. It's 15 gigs, And then for the Xbox Series X, it's 12 gigs. And gladly for the PlayStation 5, that is the least amount of download size that we have as of now, which is 3.6 gigabytes. So this is the size right now. You guys can go ahead, fire up your console or your PC and download the update and test it out for yourself right away. And there is so much more information dropping in regarding the upcoming DLC expansion Dawn of Ragnarok. And I will of course get my hands on early with the DLC, and I will let you guys know my honest opinions before you put in your $40 into the upcoming expansion. So I will just give you guys my honest reviews, my opinions, and basically what I think about the DLC itself right here on this channel. So make sure you guys are subscribed and stay tuned for more Assassin's Creed informations, as well as a bunch of videos that is related to the upcoming open world games, because that is what I cover on this channel. Anything new regarding open world games will be available first right here on this channel. So make sure you guys subscribe, turn the notifications on, and make sure that you guys are setting your notification settings to all, because the broadcast YouTube platform, they just don't send you guys the notifications of my daily videos, which I of course upload every single day. So make sure you guys do it. And if you guys did go on and enjoy these short and on to the point videos, which doesn't really waste a lot of your time and doesn't drag the videos all the way to 10 minutes long for those juicy ad revenues, then please make sure to go ahead and show your support to these short content by simply just dropping a like, because your like is very much appreciated. It does help me out as a content creator. It helps the channel, it helps the video. Also, it helps me grow as a content creator itself. So please just take a few seconds of your time and show your support. That would really mean a lot to me. But that being said, lads, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Until then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.